The next chapter refers to the Congress of Berlin, 1878, and the Macedonian Question. A significant milestone in the perception of the Macedonian question was the Berlin Congress, which revised results of the San Stefano Peace Treaty. In connection with the Macedonian territories, they were returned to the Ottoman Empire. The reasoning was the same as in the case of the East Rumelia, namely the resistance of the Greek and Ottoman populations against joining Bulgaria. The status of the territory was very vaguely formulated in Article 23 of the Final Act, according to which the Christian population and this territory was to be granted autonomy, similar to that which Sublime Porte granted to Crete in 1868, the so-called organic status. Among the people of the Macedonian areas, the results of the Congress differed on the basis of different national and religious affiliations. The population of Greek affiliation, including Slavs belonging to the Orthodox Patriarchal Church, the so-called Grecomans, accepted the results with general satisfaction. The Muslim population was also pleased to remain within the Ottoman Empire, but the Bulgarian population remained very dissatisfied. Dissatisfaction began to grow gradually among the Slavic population in the Pyrenean Mountains. There appeared first guerrillas, which attacked the Turkish garrison. The center became the Rila Monastery, where Bishop Nathanael of Ohrid, 1820 to 1906, met with the leader of one of the factions, Ilya Markov, 1805-1898, to begin preparations for the uprising in October of 1878. The reason was also the Turkish approach to the civilian population. 12 villages were burned, 189 people were murdered, 2,800 women and girls were raped, according to the Bishop Nathaniel. The preparations were managed by the secret organization Unity. Uprising was led by the Russian officer Adam Kalmykov and Polish immigrant Ludwik Wojtkiewicz. The uprising broke out on October the 5th, 1878, with an attack on the local Turkish military garrison in the village of Kresna and spread through the Struma River Basin and the Razlog Valley. So we speak about the so-called Kresna-Razlog uprising. According to a report by one of the leaders, Dimitar Berovsky, who lived from 1840 to 1907, the Macedonian rebels we continued to pursue our interests. Today, we fought hard with 2 divisions of the regular Turkish army. We have lost 1 fighter and we had 3 wounded, while the Turks lost 9 soldiers. 11 of them were wounded and 119 captured. Vain efforts for international assistance to the uprising, mainly by Russia, and not entirely suitable conditions caused the defeats in the winter of 1878-1879, and in the spring the divisions were disbanded. The decision of the powers of the Berlin Congress caused that the struggle for the acquisition of the territory of Macedonia by the Balkan regional powers increased. It was a struggle mainly through religious, national, school, and linguistic propaganda. It was the territory of Macedonia that became the scene of not only an open conflict between the 3 Balkan powers over dominance, but also a place of nationalist propaganda struggle. The Greek presence and influence was stable and long-lasting in the territory. Churches and schools were under Greek control, as were liturgical and educational languages. After the increase of Bulgarian and Serbian influence, especially after the founding of the Bulgarian Exarchate in 1870, Greek propaganda became more systemic, organized, and sophisticated. The Greeks opened a number of schools and cultural institutions to spread Greek national awareness among Macedonians and other ethnic groups. such as the Vlachs, began educating their children in Greek. The Society for the Promotion of Greek Education managed the national goals with the help of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and its diplomatic umbrella and consulates in Thessaloniki, Bitola, Ceres, and Skopje. In 1879, the organization had 189,000 drachmas per year for school purposes and the Hellenization of the Macedonians. In 1885, it was 536,000. In 1886, the Greek propaganda authorities controlled 836 schools in the region of Macedonia with about 45,000 students. In addition to the traditional adepts for the division of the Macedonian area, also appeared Serbia. Its basic idea was to gain access to the sea, but also to change the possible territorial expansion from the territory of Bosnia, which was acquired by Austria, to the area of so-called Old Serbia. Serbian propaganda in Macedonia began later, although its foundations can be seen in Garashanin's Načertanje, although at the time of its inception, areas of Serbian interest inhabited by a Serb minority, such as Bosnia, were crucial. Macedonia was marginal and not mentioned in the text. It speaks of northern Albania instead. In 1868, Serbia established the so-called the Educational Council, Prosvetni Odbor, whose task was to establish schools in all Serbia and Macedonia. Its activities were subdued during the Great Eastern Crisis, but after the Berlin Congress, its activities were intensified. In 1886, the Company of St. Sava, Društvo Sveti Sava, was founded, which operated under the Ministry of Education and later Foreign Affairs. Its main activity was school propaganda in the territory of Old Serbia, but not only there. The new convention signed with Sublime Porte allowed the Kingdom of Serbia to establish consulates on Macedonian territory. In 1887, Thessaloniki and Skopje, and in 1888 in Bitola. Fear from growing of Bulgarian nationalism, the Patriarch of Constantinople allowed Serbs to appoint a bishop in Skopje and organize their own church schools. Thanks to its strategy, Serbian propaganda was successful, also due to the cooperation with Macedonian patriots. And in 1900, Serbs had 217 schools. For example, Bitola, Prilep, Kičevo, Debar, Kruševo, Skopje, Kočani, Štip, etc., with 9,179 students. In terms of their development, the Macedonian Slavs were much closer to Bulgaria than to Serbia. Until the establishment of the Bulgarian state, in 1878, the formation of a modern Bulgarian nation took place also in Macedonia, similarly as later with an independent Bulgaria. M. Kuba states a relatively unambiguous and to some extent daring assumption for the development of ethnic awareness of Macedonian Slavs in a book, Dejini Makedoniae. It is almost certain that if this territory inhabited by Macedonian Slavs, authors note, became part of Bulgarian state, the Macedonian Orthodox Slavs would become pure Bulgarians, with nothing different from the Bulgarians in the principally Bulgarian Principality 1878 to 1908, respectively Eastern Rumelia. This is a rather bold statement, and it might not be entirely useless to work with prognostic research methods, although there are limitations too. In 1890s, the Bulgarian national movement in Macedonia received general support from Bulgarian Prime Minister Stambolov, who established good relations with the Sultan. Financial support increased from 100,000 levas in 1881 to 574,874 in 1885, and according to Serbian reports, to 5.5 million French francs in 1890. In 1890, these finances and influence again allowed to Exarch to the exarch, I beg your pardon, to occupy the diocese of Skopje and Ohrid. In 1900, the Bulgarian Exarchate administered 781 schools with 1,221 teachers and 39,973 pupils. In 15 Macedonian dioceses, 1,854 churches and 1,232 belong to the Bulgarian Orthodox Church, along with religious awareness and belonging to the Exarchate. Bulgarian national awareness spread. It spread, although nationally conscious Bulgarians formed only a relative majority in Macedonia. Almost a quarter of Macedonian Slavs remain Hellenized. The propaganda efforts from the last two mentioned parties, Greek and Bulgarian, was presented by the priest from the village of Nevrokopi on the current Greek-Bulgarian border as follows, and we quote, "Before 1862, the Bulgarians and the Greeks formed one Orthodox community. However, Bulgarian gangs arrived and secretly got city officials on their side. The Greeks did not allow Bulgarian to be taught in schools, and the Bulgarian children had to leave." They had to leave, it says here. The Bulgarians then asked that in Bulgarian could be sung in the left part of the local temple. The Grand Vizier ordered a census of Greek and Bulgarian inhabitants, and the group that had the majority could use the Church of the Holy Virgin. The Archbishop entered into this dispute and defended Greek interests. After that, violence and the two-sided attacks broke out. They broke out. The school and the temple were burnt. The example shows the work of nationalist nonsense, the struggle for dominance and subsequent hegemony, but also the detrimental influence of nationalism on its practical level. In the context of the whole propaganda struggle for Macedonia, in addition to the Serbian, Greek, and Bulgarian influences, Romanian ones appeared, the establishment of the Romanian grammar school in Bitola, and the support of the Aromanians. We may also trace Albanian and Vatican claims. In 1866, about 20,000 people in Macedonia recognized the Pope's sovereignty. British and American Protestant missionaries worked in the Razlog area of the Struma Valley. Well, that ends part 2 of this academic paper titled Foreign Powers and the Macedonian Question at the End of the 19th Century, whose author is Dr. Maroš Meličarek from the Faculty of Arts, Department of History in Slovakia, published by the Serbian Studies Research, Volume 11, Number 1, 2020. Thanks for listening. Part 3, which will be the final part, will follow in a video separately. See you soon.